And go.
Hey guys, and welcome to Witch Talk. This is where different witches get together and talk about witchy things. Tonight is just me and Amy because Tara and Jonathan were busy or something. Anyway, we had a couple of things that were on our mind. We also have the Q&A should be opened, and you have to go to the Google page to ask us questions or interact with us. We're open to questions. And tonight is just kind of a free talk night, so whatever happens, happens. But we did have a couple of things on our mind already, and that was the bullying that seems to be going on in the witchy community, which is something that I've noticed since I've joined the YouTube witchy community like 4 years ago.
Yeah,
It's like been a
it's
consistent.
it seems more prevalent in the YouTube type community than anywhere else.
Yeah.
And then Facebook kind of becomes this spy game.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah, I mean, you come across so many people that are paranoid because so many people have I guess it's just, I'm assuming that it's just have extra time on their hands because I just can't imagine like creating a whole other profile just to snoop on someone else's page.
Which is probably why Facebook had implemented they have to use your real name thing. Because I bet you a lot of stuff that was probably not just in the witchy community, but just in general, people are making, fake profiles to spy on each other. I could see that definitely being a problem.
Or be assholes,
I
yeah.
mean, my thing is too, if you post it on Facebook, you better make sure it's something that you're okay with your parents and your kids and like your closest friends seeing, because you never know where it's going to go. It is on the internet.
That is.
Stuff doesn't go away. I've seen some crazy stuff and some stuff, just a screenshot go completely viral and insane and reach thousands and millions of people. So, yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, it's the internet. There's so many good things about the internet. It's got so many possibilities of bringing people together and people that you would never meet because of distance or
Mhm.
whatever. But at the same time, it seems like there's a lot of people that are just using it to be malicious and start drama and cause drama. And
Right. Well, you have the keyboard warriors that do it, online. The thing is with YouTube, I find with YouTube, with making a video, it's easier to express myself because I'm more of a verbal person and to have a conversation with somebody like we are right now. So I don't know, but you can't hide behind that. So it kind of amazes me that people are using that platform to bully each other because you are, I guess you're being more real, you're more vocal, but at the same time, you can't hide behind that. So I still think that people are thinking before they react to certain things, because even when in a video you can take things the wrong way or too literally, or they can be said the wrong way, but it needs to stop.
it
you
does. I
know
mean, I think that if I like doing these collaboration type of things because I'm the same way. For whatever reason, I don't express myself how I intend to express myself in text or written format very easily. I
Mhm.
always am. It's always, everything I say is always taken the wrong way, and even sometimes verbally. And I'm like, oh, I didn't mean it like that or something. But it's a lot easier when you can have the dialogue and the back and forth with someone to where you can instantly clarify, hey, Amy, that was an asshole thing to say. And I can be like, oh, was it? Or I didn't mean it that way.
Right.
Let me give you a different example. But when you have people that just make, like regular videos, I think that a lot of the time ego gets involved because they feel, oh, I'm doing this video and I've got all these subscribers and my
Mhm.
minions, and they're all going to, because a lot of the time if you do a video and you have subscribers, a lot of subscribers, or even just a few subscribers, the people that watch your channel are obviously going to agree with you, usually.
Right.
So now you've said something and you're getting cheered on,
Right.
whether you're right or wrong, which is just perpetuating and enabling this behavior. And when it comes to bullying, I just think it's disgusting. There's no other word I can use for it. I think it's disgusting. I had to do a whole video myself on it.
Yeah.
And it was like, because I teach my kids not to bully. You know, if they see someone bullying, you know, report it or put a stop to it. You know, whether you like that person, you don't like that person, it's a friend, it's not a friend, whatever, because it's damaging, especially in this day and age where it can just happen from every angle. It's not like back in the day when I was in school where it's like, okay, if I go to school, I can be bullied, but then I go home and I have that respite. Whereas now it's like, you go to school, you get bullied, you come home, you've got Twitter, you've got YouTube, you've got Facebook, and it's just coming at you from all sides. It can be really harmful to a lot of people. And the fact that we're grown adults,
that's definitely part of it. And I wanted to say what this has to do with witchcraft is, you know, a lot of things that we're taught, especially like one of the first fundamentals of the craft in general, and I think that any path can agree with this, is that your words have power. Manifestation is, even in like non-religious or different religions, it's manifestation, and what you say has power, and your thoughts have power too. Because I just started this, actually me and Jonathan are doing this shamanism a year of ceremony course, and one of the things that the first video had talked about was even your thoughts having power and your words having power. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be pissed off. It's how you react. It's not, that's what I try to tell my kids. It's not the feeling that you have. The feeling is okay. You're human. It's how you react to it. It's how you respond to it. And I think, and then you also have people that are ganging up on each other, which is very common online too. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I don't think that's cool. And you see, I've heard recently about things. I have not really watched a lot of YouTube videos lately. I've taken a step back from watching. So I haven't seen it firsthand, but I've heard that there's been a lot of back and forth with different things.
There has, I mean, and what was I going to point? You know, that with thoughts do have power, words do have power, and there seems to be a whole lot of ego involved within the community lately. Like, I'm a better witch than you. Ooh, bow down before me. You know, it's almost like we have a lot of people either that are just coming into the community or even have been in the community for a little while and have gotten a little bit of notoriety. So now it seems like their witchcraft stems all from me having power over others.
Right.
Instead of, you know, me personally, my witchcraft, my path is about having power over myself.
Right. That's
you know,
why
I don't care if you get rich. I don't care if you get, you know, you lose all your money. It doesn't really affect me. I may have emotions involving that, but it doesn't really affect me. So I'm working on my own prosperity. I'm working on my own health. I'm working on my own shit that I've got going on. Not so much about other people.
Right. One of the things I've noticed, I'm in a Facebook group that is primarily like pagans that are on YouTube, but a lot of these people I don't know. I don't interact with them. But it seems like, or I don't know them, I'm not friends with them, I haven't really interacted with them before. It's not like I'm trying to like stay away from them, it's just how it is. But I've noticed that people that are new are like, oh, well, how do I get subscribers? They're not worried about their content, they're worried about people watching them. Like, I just noticed when we started this that I just hit 1,000 subscribers on my personal channel. I've been on YouTube for like 4 years now. To me, subscribers was never a thing that I really look. It's cool. It's awesome. It's never something I shot for. And I've actually gotten more subscribers when I'm inactive. People find my older videos. It's just something for me that I never understood. I mean, I kind of understand it. Everybody wants to have a little piece of the pie and everybody to know them and whatever it is. But for me, it was never extremely important.
I agree. And there's a lot of people that, oh, we have to reach this many subscribers. We have to have this many, you know, I don't know. I'm assuming that it has something to do with like that if you have a whole bunch of subscribers, you get paid.
Well, I've had the money thing on my channel for a while. I think I've made 35 cents in the past like 4 years. I don't think they pay you till you hit $100 or something. So I don't expect anything from that.
But I think that that's where a lot of people, it's like the notoriety, it's the fame, internet famous. And money, you know,
Yeah.
and for me, the reason that I very first started YouTube was more of a therapeutic thing because I have social anxiety and I'm very reserved and introverted. So I started doing YouTube to kind of break out of that shell without breaking out of that shell. You know, it's like I was out in the world, but I wasn't all the way out in the world.
Right.
And it didn't even have anything to do with witchy type, you know, anything witchy. It was more of like a therapy kind of thing for me. So the number of subscribers that I have I don't care. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. I would be still doing the same thing that I'm doing if I had 5 subscribers or if I had 5,000 subscribers or if I had 5 million subscribers, because it's not about the subscribers. It's about, I enjoy my subscribers. I enjoy their support and interacting with them, but it's not about the number. Quality, not quantity.
Yeah, I'm the same way. But yeah, this bullying thing, I don't know what's going on. I think it's ego. I mean, we're ego. We are all ego. It is part of it. I think people are looking out and what other people are doing instead of looking at themselves. And I can say that because I've done the same thing. I've looked at what other people were doing instead of working on myself. And yeah, definitely ego is I completely lost my train of thought. Ego is definitely part of it. And I think people are jealous too. That comes around a lot too. And that's why a lot of the bullying starts. A lot of it starts with yourself, is you really have to focus. Like so far this year has been almost completely on myself. I have kids, so I got to focus on them too. But I'm in 2 courses right now that are helping me with like self-improvement and different things. It's not just of the witchy variety. It's just humanness and being here. And I think that's one of the important things that we need to definitely need to work on ourselves. I think a lot of these keyboard warriors too don't have any hobbies. I know in particular a while back, I don't know if it's still happening, but people that make videos constantly or get into fights online constantly, they're bored. They literally have nothing else to do.
Yes, so, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, so if you find yourself getting angry, you really need to look at yourself and not what other people are doing, and find out why you're reacting and why you're angry, and stop picking on people.
Yeah, because it's catty, it's petty, and it's just mean.
Do you think it's because the YouTube community or the pagan community is mostly women? Because like I've never had a lot of female friends for that reason.
I don't know. I don't know if it's because it's mostly women, but
I don't know. A lot of the men I've run into are pretty catty too, so I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think that, and you know what else blows my mind about it is, one of the that phrase, silence is golden.
Mm-hmm.
Well, silence is also powerful.
Right.
So as a witch, you would think you would not go on and be like, talk all this nonsense and make these videos. You would just handle it. You would just, if it's that important to you to where you feel like, I'm going to make a video about this, instead of doing that, do your craft and deal with it. And then it's resolved and done, and you don't have to bother with it anymore.
The internet has made people extremely passive aggressive, and people don't know how to deal with their own shit, which I think is why we've had an increase in depression and self-harm and suicide and things like that, is people have not learned to take care of their own things and be real with each other. And actually, just take care of things. It gets pushed under the rug. It becomes passive aggressive, especially on Facebook. I could write a post right now and be about anybody, and I bet you about 10 different people would think it's about them. And it could be about nobody.
Yeah,
it's
completely agree with that. And something that I've really, and I was that way. I'm a Cancer, so I think that I'm prone to being passive aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to be confrontational.
Right.
So I have my opinions and I want to say something, but I'll admit that flaw in myself. You know, I'm prone to being passive aggressive, but it's something that especially this year and last year, I have consciously been working on. And I think that it was really kind of whooped forward when one of my best friends committed suicide, because she was not passive aggressive at all.
Right.
She was extremely just in your face aggressive. And she used to always tell me, Amy, quit being a fucking doormat.
Right.
Because by you not saying, because I was always the type of person that was like, oh no, just let it go, you know, oh, they don't matter, whatever. And she still to this day, even though she's passed on, tells me all the time, like, by you being silent in this situation, you're saying that it's okay for them to treat you this way, or you're saying that that behavior is okay. So, I mean, I understand that there are certain times that you have to say something, you have to speak up. But I think that you really need to stop and think what the reason that you're speaking up.
Right.
You know, were you just so attacked? Is this something that's worthwhile? And if you are going to speak up about it, then speak up to that person. It doesn't have to be a public global thing. Like, just talk to that person. I mean, it could even be something as simple as, I don't like you. I think you're a shitty person, and I don't want to be friends with you. Have a super day. You know, like, just people, we don't have to be friends. We don't have to be friends with anyone. And you know what? If you decide not to be friends with someone, it doesn't make you a hateful, horrible person.
Right.
There's no obligation to be friends. Just because we're witches doesn't mean we have to be friends with each other.
Which is why that like brother sister thing bothers me, because I'm like, dude, I have brothers and I don't have any like sisters. I have blood, you know, real brothers. And I'm like, no. I'm like, it's cool. We're friends, and you know, maybe as witches we can work together. We can bounce ideas off each other, maybe even craft together or whatever. But no, you're not. I've never felt that. And I don't know, maybe that's just a personal thing. I know some people do feel a family, and that's awesome. But I've had people that I don't even really know like call me like sister, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't work.
Oh my gosh, like, I completely agree with that. I mean, and like, small, short, personal story, years and years and years and years ago, I actually had two people in my kitchen, and somehow the topic got brought up, and they were literally sitting there arguing and debating about which one of them was my best friend. And I was sitting there thinking, in my head, this is the most insane conversation I've ever heard, because to me, they were both like acquaintances. They weren't even like good friends. And I'm like, I don't understand where I went wrong, where I led these people to believe that like we were sisters or we were best friends. That's a big deal to me. If I say you're my best friend, that's some serious stuff.
Right.
I wouldn't say that you're my sister. I have a sister, and we don't always get along so well. So
see, I don't have one. I never really felt the need to have one. I'm the oldest, and I have two brothers and two stepbrothers. Like, my family is big enough as it is. And I've never really, like, I helped one many years ago. I helped one friend with spell work she wasn't even a witch, but I felt for her situation, she wanted to do stuff for her situation. It was better to have her involved. Since then, I have never done the spell with somebody else, because I have to do it on my own.
Yeah, I don't do workings for other people anymore.
I haven't done them for other people in a long time.
I used to do them pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I didn't do it for a lot of people. It's not like I sold my services, you know, or anything like that. But But I'd help people out if they asked here and there and stuff, but I don't do that anymore because of a personal situation that happened and it was very traumatic, and I just don't do it anymore. But along those lines, a little bit different, something that just popped into my head, something that we were going to discuss. I'm going to carry you with me outside because that made me want to smoke a cigarette. That's right, people.
It's okay. This is not coffee.
Well, normally I wouldn't want to like carry my laptop around and make everybody seasick here, but
Amy knows that this is not coffee. I've had a really rough day. This is actually the coffee mug I got in New Orleans, and it says "Voodoo unto others before they voodoo unto you."
That's so paranoid.
I just love this mug, so I'm using it. And also, so this does have some wine in it, and I told Amy that I put it in the coffee mug because all my wine glasses I use as offering glasses, and I don't think it's cool to drink out of a glass after you've used it for an offering glass, even though most of my offerings were water, not wine. But
I'm really sorry if, by the way, you hear in the background, because now I'm outside, peacocks, because there's people that live behind me that have peacocks.
And they're extremely loud, and they sound like dying breeding cats.
They do.
They do. I used to have peacocks across the street. But another thing we were talking about before we started the live stream, I want to get into that conversation because Amy had brought it up about deity and
Yes.
about not everybody working with one, or not necessarily that, but people being on the path and not having a deity approach them.
Yes, that I know from personal experience that can be really frustrating. And this was back when I was just, I would like to say a little baby witch, but it wasn't that long ago, to be honest with you. I mean, I had been on the path for a good decade.
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago, I remember.
Yeah, and it was extremely frustrating, to be honest with you, because I felt, to be honest with you, I felt pretty inadequate. I felt, there's all these people that talk about how they have all these deities and they have all these, personal relationships with these deities, and I don't understand what I don't, and how do I get one, and can I adopt one at the shelter? Where do I go to find these deities?
Is there a deities or us?
Exactly. I didn't know where. It was extremely frustrating to where I tried to force it sometimes, where it's like, you know what, I'm just going to buy the fucking statue and I'm going to do the research and I'm going to, see what happens. And it just, oh, look, there's bats. Yay. And it just never worked out. It never felt connected. It never felt right. And I know that this is like the most frustrating thing to say to anybody, but if you're in that situation, you just have to wait and you'll know when it happens.
See, my thing, and I've got like 5 different thoughts going on at once. In some cultures and in some paths, it's kind of like you're born with it. So I know that like in Santeria, and I believe like of voodoo, you're kind of born with. I know in Santeria it's like you're born with a head angel is what they call it. And in different paths, I don't know all of them, mostly the Afro-Cuban paths, you're born with specific guides and angels, and they're not gods. They are like angels with you. So when you interact with people that have that culture, you're like, oh, cool. Well, maybe I have somebody that's with me all the time and I don't know it. And I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I don't think I was born with, I do believe everybody has spirit guides and has ancestral guides. But I don't believe that like the goddess that I work with now, like she's been with me my whole life. Like, I don't know for sure. I never asked her. So it's like, I don't know. I can't say that, but I don't think that everybody that that claims, and I'll use that word, claims to be a witch, can or should work with deity. To work with a deity is a lot of work, and you almost become. This is my experience. You become like a priest or priestess or a messenger for them. It's like you're doing their work on the physical plane, and they're helping you from where on the non-physical plane, wherever you feel like they are. You work together. It's like you feed them, they feed you type of thing. And not everybody is cut out to do that, especially the people that don't take things seriously. And not everybody who like wants to, like that shamanism group, that shamanism thing I was talking about earlier. There's a group, and I've noticed there's a lot of people that are there that they don't even talk about deity. It's not something like, I know with Jonathan, it's not even on his radar. He doesn't, it's not his thing at all. And there are some people that believe that too, you know, it's just not their thing. So I don't know. It's like patience. If you really, really want, it's patience and work. And my thing is they've come to me. I've only had 2 come to me. It's not like there's been a million of them. And I think a lot of these people that talk about different deities, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. That's kind of the ego thing we were talking about earlier, is they're like, oh yeah, I work with this one and this one and this one and this one. And maybe this one
popped. Recite you everything from a book.
Right. Well, I like in my personal experience, this has happened with a goddess and also a couple of animal guides. They pop in and they pop out. They come in, they help you, and they're gone. And I think that they're always kind of there, but I don't, like, I have respect for them, but I don't say that I work with them. So that also can happen too. They can pop in and pop out and just help you, or they can kind of introduce you to another guide or deity or whatever the case is. So that really depends on the situation. But you said earlier, just like buying a statue and just force that relationship is not something I've ever seen like good results from.
Yeah, no, me neither. And I did it.
Like what I did was I started researching specific god and goddess, and like another one came to me. That's how it happened for me. So I mean, definitely do your research. You need to learn. Like I know a lot about different cultures because religion and cultures and mythology has always interested me, but I don't work with every single flippin' deity that I know about.
Oh, so you're not a Frankenwitch.
No. Like I was always drawn to the Norse pantheon, and I know a lot about them and a lot of their mythology and everything, and it's fascinating to me. I don't have blood ancestry connected to it, which unfortunately I was hoping. It's just something that's fascinating to me, but none of those Freya did come to me, but nobody else really came to me, but I still have a respect for them and the different cultures that I've learned about.
Yeah, I think that you should, like we were talking about, before, I think that first and foremost you should focus on your ancestors, because I mean that's your blood, that's you, that's your whole kind of bodyguard, but like your
right.
makeup. And then beyond that, you can wait, you can try and communicate, you can try and get in touch, you can petition, deities and stuff to see if they want to work with you and stuff like that. For me personally, that just never worked. I had to just be patient and wait. Yeah. And then, and then I found my deities, and my deities are a little bit different in that I believe them to be like living gods. So it's not, I say stuff like I worship them. I say stuff that like I honor them, because I do, but it's a working relationship. So if it's not like every Tuesday at 5 p.m. I have to clean the altar, and every Saturday at 6 p.m. I have to do this. When it for me personally, when it becomes a chore and there's no heart behind it, then I think that you should reevaluate things, because if it's a chore, your heart and soul isn't into it, and that's not really honoring them very much. So
I don't like to do anything that I have to do. That's just my personality or what's expected of me. I have to do something that I want to do, that I love to do, that is a passion of mine, or I drag my feet and I don't want to do it, which is, you know, one of the things I'm working on as far as like household stuff, because that stuff needs to be done. But when it comes to your spiritual practice, it has to be something that you want to do. If you don't find a passion or a love in it, then it's not something that you should be doing, which is probably
Right.
one of the reasons why I've kind of stepped away from like making YouTube videos. It hasn't really been, you know, on my personal channel. I liked once I had the interaction back and forth, that's kind of what I liked to do better. So I love these interactions. Um, yeah, it's like anything with life. I think once you start doing something because you're supposed to, or it's methodical, it becomes a chore, it becomes a job, it becomes something that you have to do. It's not as enjoyable. And I know in different, I do know that like in some cultures there are specific days that you do specific things, but I would assume that they also have that joy and that passion, and that's why they keep doing them when they're supposed to be doing them.
Right, right, right. And I'm not knocking people that do that, because if that's the way that you
They're
feel
taught.
comfortable doing it, then that's the way that you feel comfortable doing
Yeah.
it. For me personally, though, it's the way my personality is. It's just like, oh, I have to clean the altar again, instead of like, oh, you know, I'm going to clean the altar. And usually my deities or spirits that I'm working with will let me know. It's not like every Sunday I have to do this. It's more like, hey, bitch, it's been a while. Like, let's get to work. Oh, okay, sorry.
And different ones are different. From what I've learned throughout my studies is that some are like you need to keep a clean, immaculate, especially if you're working with like a home goddess or god, like immaculate. And then some don't care as much. Like I would assume like the warrior gods and goddesses are not going to like care as much. They're definitely going to want their offerings and whatever it is that you promise them, make sure you give it to them. I will say
Oh,
that
yeah.
though. But yeah, cleanliness, they definitely, I feel like the, you know, a clean altar is a clean life type of thing. And that goes with your space and your home and everything, but that doesn't mean you have to do it every single day. That means you have to do it as it is needed. But
Yeah.
don't let it go to shit either. So
Yeah.
there's no time frame on that for me.
No, and some people really do. Some people have that mentality where they put so much stress almost on themselves of like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm going to piss so and so off if I don't do this because I'm supposed to do it on Tuesday at 2 p.m.
Mm.
I don't think that I could work with a deity like that or have a practice like that.
Listen, on Tuesday at 2 p.m., I'm still sleeping because I work night shift, and that would be like 4 hours into my sleep, and I'd be kind of pissed if I had to wake up to do something.
or like if you're sick.
I prefer to do my stuff at night too, but
Yeah, or if like you're sick, you know, and it's like, oh, I have to do this even though I'm like got the flu and want to die. No, I'm pretty sure that if you have a relationship with those deities, at least mine, you know, they're gonna be like, you're sick. I would prefer you to go back to bed and get well than to clean this altar.
yeah, they should never let you get sick in the first place if they wanted you to clean the
Right?
altar at 2 o'clock on Tuesday.
Exactly. You want your altar spotless, don't let me get sick.
Right.
But something else that I'm dealing with right now, since this is kind of just a chit chat show, is when you are displaced physically. Because, you know, I moved from Florida to Kansas. Right now I'm staying with my parents because we are buying a house. And
My cat displaced everything. When I got my cat in July, like all my physical space went to shit. And I realized that I needed to stop focusing on the physical space and focus more on what I was doing rather than the stuff I had.
yeah, well, and it's really taught me to kind of, I mean, I've always been like an introverted person anyway, but being, you know, here at my parents' house and not having like my own, you know, own space has really taught me to internalize a lot of things. You know, meditation has become really important to me, and working things spell work and everything, even, really internally without all of this stuff, because all of my stuff is in boxes in storage right now, except for like a very few things.
Mhm.
And so I've been really focusing on my feelings and how things affect me and who I want to be as a person and a witch,
Right.
and finding other hobbies outside of the craft, because the craft can be two things I wanted to point out. The craft the craft can be, it can become all consuming, and it can be very scary. There's a lot of people that don't take that, with a lot of like the Witchcraft 101 books, it's all about getting you excited and getting you involved and really getting you out there and practicing and stuff. They don't talk a whole lot about the all-consuming part of things,
Right.
where that can lead to burnout. And
because we see, religious fundamentalists that are that are Christian or Muslim, people that are so mostly with Christians, so obsessed, and witches get like that too. They are so obsessed, and I was like that for the first couple of years, and I'll say that flat out. That was me, constantly books, articles, talking to people. It took up a lot of my time, and that is why I think that now I'm kind of getting, which is great. I learned a lot and got some awesome people, but I think I let a lot of other things go too. So now I'm trying to find like that in between place, personally. Yes.
Yeah, you have to have hobbies outside of things. I mean, and I'm not saying that you can't bring witchcraft into your hobbies. I mean, I bring witchcraft into my nail art and my nails and stuff. Like, hello, gold, prosperity, bring me the money.
Right.
Like, you can, but there's a lot of people that would say, oh, she's got nails, or oh, she wears makeup, or oh, she likes jewelry, or oh, she dyes her hair, or oh, if you're not some, hippie, then you're not a real witch. And number one, mind your business. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Worry about your own level of witchiness.
There was actually something, I'm going to say it completely wrong because I don't remember exactly, but there was a thing that I had read, that I think it was one of those screen caps from, I think, something that was posted on Tumblr about makeup and witchcraft. And one of them was like using different colors and different things to see, like using eyeliner to see clearly, and using different color like lipstick to speak clearer, and I forgot exactly what it was, but you can use makeup also in your craft. You can also use it as a mask and to hide what you're doing or pretend to be somebody else. But definitely in the nails too, that color, using different nail polish colors is actually really, I never thought of that, but that's a really awesome thing to do, is to use different, because color correspondence is always important when it comes to candles, but we forget about like what we're wearing. And there's another thing I've seen is ad for like different colored glasses with different colored lenses to help you like balance your chakras. I don't think you need to go that far, but I know that colors, people talk about eating different kinds of colored foods or wearing different color clothes to help with different things that you need to work on. Like if you need to work on communication or calming, you wear blue, different things like that.
I mean, and I know that there are some things that for me, that one side of my brain will still sit and say, okay, that's not witchcraft. That's just a psychological thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I would, if I feel that I look good, then I feel good.
Right.
I don't mean look good by someone else's standards, but like if I go through the motions of, it's kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna stay home and stay in my pajamas and like pull my hair in a ponytail and blah 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 blah, and you feel like that, and that's okay sometimes. But if you do that all the time, then I feel like that for me personally, that can kind of mess with my head. So if I make myself get up and make myself put on a bra and get dressed and put some makeup on and flat iron my hair or do my nails or put on my jewelry or whatever, I feel better. I'm more likely to leave my house, number one, because if I'm looking hot I'm not going anywhere. But if I look presentable, oh, I'm going to go for a walk, or oh, let's take the dogs for a walk, or so there is a psychological aspect to witchcraft as well. Obviously, I think anybody would agree to that.
Right.
But you can bring colors and and do witchy things with all of that as well. It's like wearing a certain color tank top isn't witchcraft, but you can make it witchcraft.
Right.
So, and something else that people don't talk about a lot of the time is that it's scary. If your witchcraft is scary, then you're probably not doing it right.
Right.
That's just my opinion, because my practice pushes my limits and stuff all the time. Not to the point to where I'm terrified all the time.
Right.
That probably should be a sign like, whoa, you should probably hold up a minute.
And also, your craft should also never go against your own morals either. Like I've talked about previous, I had an experience, Freya came into my life and she worked for me more on like the female, like sensual side, but she was trying to push me into like having random male encounters, which is not my thing. It's not my personality. And so that's why that relationship didn't last very long, because that's what she wanted and I wasn't willing to do it. So you can be like, no, you do have that moral ground to say no. But at the same time, if you're being pushed, there's usually a reason for it. If things are being put into your way or into your life, there's a reason for it, and it will make you stronger in the end. Like maybe that experience kind of reinforced my morals, my values when it comes to, my sex life. And then different things have come into my life where it's kind of reinforced with, okay, how far are you willing to go to protect yourself or your family? How far are you willing to go for other people and to do these things to make sure what's going on, to see what's going on.
Yeah, even simple things. There's some people out there that are afraid of the dark. And some people will tell them, oh, well, you're afraid of the dark, then you might want to rethink being a witch, because that's not witchy. What? That's fucking stupid. First of all, you're a shitty friend for saying that to someone.
Right.
And second of all, just reevaluate. Just look at it like, okay, I'm afraid of the dark. I know that I'm afraid of the dark, but why am I afraid of the dark? Do I have a legitimate reason to be afraid of the dark?
There's probably things that you notice that are there that you're picking up on in the dark, that's why you're afraid. But I think if you're afraid of the dark, you have to kind of face it. I'm not saying by putting yourself in the dark, but you need to face it and to figure out, what's going on and what it is, if anything's bothering you or haunting you or stalking you or whatever.
It's like, are you afraid of the dark because something traumatic happened to you when you were younger in the dark, and that's why you're afraid of the dark? Are you afraid of the dark because where you live, you're going to be eaten by a wild animal if you go out wandering around in the dark? And if you to get over those things, you can do little things like when you let your dogs out at night, take a flashlight with you and maybe stay outside for a couple of minutes, longer than you normally would have, or try and go out there with a lantern or something, or a fire pit, and just sit there and kind of see how you feel. Or if you're not even ready for that at all yet, sit in your house in the dark for a minute and just see how you feel. Analyze and meditate and ask, your spiritual tribe, what's going on? Why are you afraid? And I'm just using the dark as an example. It could be anything. I mean, I'm afraid of toads. I'm afraid of hexing someone because of whatever reason. Witchcraft is scary. We're dealing with things that a lot of people either can't or won't.
Right.
And I think that if you're witchy, you know that there are things out there in the dark, So why wouldn't you be afraid?
Right.
So I think that to be a successful witch, you have to acknowledge the fact that it can be all-encompassing. and to balance that out, and that it's scary.
Right. And I think a lot of people stay away from the scary aspect. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've heard somebody say, oh, well, not all witches will deal with the dead or can see or talk to spirits or whatever the case may be. And it's like, no, it is what it is. That is what it is. Like, for the longest time, and I've talked about this before, I did not like cemeteries. And the reason why I did not like cemeteries is because my mother died when I was very young and I was forced to go and I didn't want to go and it was uncomfortable and it was uncomfortable, which is why I didn't enjoy it. So as I got older, I would go just to go, and it was I'd be there for like 2 seconds and I leave. Now I'm like, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to spend some time and I'm going to talk and I'm going to do this and explore and walk around. I've overcome that. I have overcome that. I've felt things. I've seen things while I've been there. That shit happens everywhere though, because the dead are everywhere. And that is one of those things is if you are legitimately a witch, you cannot get away from the dead. They are there. We are meant to see them. We are meant to communicate with them. We are meant to work with them. Now that can be deity, because some people feel that all deities were once living people that are now spirits. They're just they're elevated spirits. If you work, that is what it is. Unless you just strictly work with nature spirits, then they're still spirits though. So I don't know.
Do you ever find it to be problematic for you, or come across someone else or something, to overthink things?
When it comes to
witchcraft or, like the dead, what makes
definitely
spirit, or what makes a deity, like some people see, for example, Baba Yaga or Baba Yaga as a deity, and some people just see her as a spirit, and some people see her as like a land something, and some people think she's just a fairy tale story.
Right.
So when you start to try and explain things, sometimes it can get really murky, especially if it's a culture thing. So have you ever run into something like that, like with seeing spirits or trying to explain what you see or how you see it, or stuff like that, and then you start to overthink it and you almost end up confusing yourself?
When I was younger, I was involved or forced to be involved with like the Baptist church. So one of the things is that was taught was if you are saved, you will never be possessed by a demon. And I was so scared to be possessed that I didn't do it in a formal way, but I went through the more like the verbal contract of being saved, because at 13 I was petrified, because you hear these stories. So that kind of the overthinking, that kind of led into my adulthood too, of, okay, well, I don't want to do these certain things because I don't want to go into this situation, because I don't want that for myself, because that scares the shit out of me. I think a lot of that is like fear-based. As I've gotten more in tune and involved in things, it's not as scary, because in some cultures possession is just a way of what they do. It's how they do stuff. And I think actually like hearing stories and interacting and dealing with people who have done those experiences, who have been through those experiences, makes it not as like crazy in my mind. Yeah. But yeah, I am one of those people that likes to overanalyze stuff. It's really funny. I have a neighbor who lives upstairs. He just moved in like in December. And he was told me over the weekend that he wasn't sure about moving into an old house, because he goes, well, I don't know if you believe in this thing or not, but when I was younger, I saw a ghost and it scared me, so I'm not. And I'm like, okay. I didn't say anything. I was like, okay. And in my mind, I'm like, well, there's a spirit portal in my apartment. I see them walk through all the time. But I wasn't going to tell him that. But I was like, no, I've never had a problem. I've never had a problem. That wasn't a lie. I've never had a problem with spirits in his house. They kind of just pass through.
I'll be really interested to see the house that we're looking at, that we're buying, because it was built in 1910. So I'm like, ooh.
I don't know, and I have to find out when this house was built. I know this house was bought before probably in like the 50s. I don't know how old it was though, how old it actually was though.
And something else that just popped into my head, because you brought up possession. Since we have like about 10 minutes left here. Trigger words. Oh, the trigger words. The trigger words drive me crazy, because you can say certain things, and
Right.
I think it's almost more like stereotypes, but like
You know what my favorite trigger word is? Ouija board. That one drives people crazy.
I mean, I guess I have my own like trigger words, to be honest. I think anybody does.
If you say the word Ouija board, you will have
karma,
yeah,
chakra,
free will
versus destiny, sacred space. Oh my gosh, does that drive me crazy?
Intention.
I don't know why, but it does.
Intention is another one.
Oh God, intention. Yeah, don't stop it. Knock it off with the intention. I intend to be fucking rich. Am I rich? No, but I've got gold nail polish.
And that's another thing about witchcraft is people, and I saw Fiona had sent us a message, and this is something that she had posted about earlier, so she doesn't get mad, but she had posted earlier that, you know, shit takes a lot of hard work. Even if you do spell work, it still takes like real work. Like you still have to do the leg work. You give your props to your spell work, but you give your props to yourself too, because it works together. I think the spell work makes things maybe a little bit easier. It depends on what you're doing. It can make things easier or make things harder for somebody else, depending on what you're doing. But it goes hand in hand. It's not just, oh, you do a spell and your life magically fucking fixes itself. You have to work on it yourself.
Yes, I completely agree. You can't just like do spell work to get a job and not fill out any applications.
And that was actually in Orange is the New Black.
Oh yes, I remember that.
There was, when they went more into I think her name was Gloria, they went more into her story, and there's a guy came and he's like, oh, well, I paid for this and you were supposed to get me this job. And she goes, did you hand in your application? And he goes, no. She goes, how are you going to get a job? And it's like, that's like casting a love spell and never leaving your house.
Yeah. Yeah.
The pizza man, sorry, this is not a porno. The pizza man is not going to come in. Probably not. Yeah.
And if he does,
I don't know. My pizza men are not very cute, so that wouldn't work.
I know, mine aren't either. But the trigger words, it seems like that. I mean, everybody has them. It seems like there's a lot of the time there's no explanation behind it. Like, I don't know why sacred space irritates me so much, but it does. You know, and then just the stereotypes that are like you said, Ouija board. You know, where it's just these, you know, the media and TV and stuff have made it into something that you should be afraid of.
Right.
But like possession or fairies. Fairies. Stop it with the fairies. Stop it. Stop it. They're not all rainbows and pixies and butterflies and right on the backs of snails.
Right. And don't mess with them either. Don't try to piss them off on purpose either.
Right. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure that some of them are like that, just like every other kind of type of, you know, entity out there.
The interactions I've had for fairies has been they like to hide my shit. They don't help me out. They hide my shit.
Well, I mean, and there's fairies that are out there that, you know, like they're all about mischief and being silly and having fun. But their idea of fun could be tripping you down the stairs and you fall and break your neck too.
Yeah, and they sit there and laugh at you.
Yeah, so they're not all rainbows and puppy dogs.
Definitely not.
Fiona said my trigger word is vibration when it's not talking about a good time.
I think that's a big hippie thing, is, you know, my vibe or my vibration. You know, I do think that people can definitely sense each other's like energies, like if they're good or they're bad.
Like I'm raising my vibration.
Oh, okay.
Is that what, Fiona, is that what you mean by that? Like,
I could see that with her.
just
Yeah.
like a weird word. Like I hate the word moist. It's just a dirty word. Just don't say that to me. Moist.
They
And I'd be okay, but if you say moist, I'm like, ew. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just vibration, if that's just that word and it bothers her, and I should be like vibration, 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 or if she means it in a certain context.
No, it's probably like
She just said, ew, stop with the moist word or frothy. Gosh, this latte is so moist and frothy.
not that kind of show, Amy.
Oh, see, but this is how I want it. I want us to be able to laugh and, you know,
No, definitely.
because witchcraft is serious. Witchcraft is
It's serious, but it's
a
fun
serious-
too. It can be fun too. You have to have fun with it. It's just like your life. You have to have those moments when you're serious, and you have to have those moments that are fun, and to be able to laugh at yourself when you do something really fucked up and wrong. because
yes.
you're gonna. It's,
Weird shit that we have to do. You know they have people have non-practitioners have these ideas of what witches are. So it's always like interesting to me when you like get caught doing something that you know probably is really fucking weird.
mm-hmm.
And,
oh yeah.
And there's just nothing you can say. I'm crawling around this book.
Right, like, you know,
What do you want me to say about this?
my kids catch me doing weird shit all the time. Like, so my kids collected a bunch of pine cones last week, and Jonathan said something about how he would take some, and I messaged him like, if you really want some pine cones, I'll send you some pine cones. So I sent him some pine cones, and my kids are like, why is there a box of pine cones in your car? And I'm like, because I'm gonna mail them out. We went to the post office, and my son was like, yeah, my mom's mailing out pine cones. I'm like, don't tell him that. I don't know if I'm supposed to be mailing nature. Like, stop. But to them, it's normal stuff. It's
extra weird when you know that you're witchy when you do weird stuff and your kids like don't even think it's weird. Like they'll come to me and be like, oh mom, look, there's bunny poop. Do you want to put it in a jar? Maybe. If I had we would collect that bunny poop. I don't know what I would use it for right now, but
I'm trying to think of something else I did recently that they just were like, didn't even blink an eye at, and I can't. Oh, I had a spell I had done over a year ago, and I had disassembled it. And what I decided to do was to put the ingredients into because I was kind of neutralizing it. So, and I've never done this before, so if I did it wrong, shut up. So I put the ingredients in a bag, in a brown paper bag, and I lit the bag on fire. Well, I doused it with Florida water, then I lit it on fire in my bathtub. And my kids are like, hey, mom, it smells weird. And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I just lit something on fire. And I'm like, okay. Like, no big deal. I told them, I said, just stay out of the bathroom for a little bit. They're like, okay. And I put it in the bathtub because I'm trying to be safe. Hello. And I watched it the whole time. It took like 2 minutes. But I was like, okay, whatever. Okay, mom.
My kids always make me realize how, I guess, kind of weird I am. Not so much my daughter. She's like all about it. But my son is like, no. Why are you so weird? Stop it. And I mean, he's 16.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, we should stop off at the cemetery on the way home. He's like, no. Not doing it. Not doing it, mom. I'm not getting out of the car. I'm like, I'll pull you out by your feet. And he's like, why do we have to go to the cemetery again?
Mine just tells me that witches aren't real. and I'm not, and he gets mad at me, but he's little, so we're trying to still. I'm like, okay, whatever. I just ignore him at that point. I'm like, okay, whatever.
All right. Well, I hear my family stirring out there. So they are probably not knowing what to do with themselves now because it's been an hour. So
Yes, it has been, and we've been able to talk random stuff. So if anybody has any question, well, we'll not do questions at this point because we gotta go. Any comments, please leave them on the video and give us some suggestions for some topics. We're hoping that next time we have everybody, and we're hoping to get back into the every 2-week format eventually, whenever we can.
soon.
I'm not, no time frame, but we're hoping for the twice a month thing to be a thing. Well, it can be.
I know that once I move,
Right.
it'll be a whole lot easier.
Right.
But right now, not so easy. So
Send me
once I
comments, feedback, anything, suggestions. Hopefully
Yeah.
it'll be more people next time because I like when we all get together.
Yeah.
But
And I'm hoping also to, if you're watching and you want to be like a featured guest or a special guest or something,
yeah.
let one of us know. We'll see if we can work it out, or if there's a specific topic that you'd want to talk about, let us know. You are sexy people. You are sexy and moist and just frothy.
And vibrational.
And you vibrate. You vibrate. Oh, I can't eat. That was leading to. And on that note, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.